Good afternoon. It's December 13th, the third Sunday in the Advent season, and it's Joyful Sunday. And I even have my pink mask, so I am ready to celebrate these celebrations. Today we get to celebrate the joyful time. We sometimes see flowers in the church. It wants to take us out of that sense of the penitential season and put us into that idea of joyful anticipation of the coming of Christ. With that, we have the story of John the Baptist. And John the Baptist, this crazy looking guy coming out of the wilderness with a message: prepare the way of the Lord, make straight your path. And it's rather interesting when we sit down and we listen to this, because the question always is the message or the messenger. In this case, the messenger, John the Baptist, was well received. People came to him, they flocked to him. In our society today, sometimes the issue we have is we get caught up in the messenger and don't necessarily pay attention to the message. We want to have our own input into what the message is. And sadly, this creates a real problem for us at times. What is the message that we're listening to? And in the second reading today, St. Paul reminds us to test everything. So do we bother to listen to the message well enough so that we can actually test the message, what is being told to us? There is one God. Well, how do we test that? There is one Jesus Christ. How do we test that? Oftentimes I hear young people in the schools questioning whether or not Jesus actually existed, except that we have proof to that test. We have the Roman historians, we have the Greek historians, we have these people who recorded that there was a man, Jesus Christ, and he lived at this time, and he was crucified in Jerusalem. And some of them even go on to report that it was cited that he rose from the dead. Now, even back then, people questioned it, people doubted it, people didn't want to believe it. Because if you choose to believe it, then all of a sudden you have to change your life. The same thing goes for us today, is sometimes we don't like the message. Sometimes we don't like the messenger. And so we don't bother to get to the part of actually seriously addressing the message. The same thing in our Catholic faith. Many of us grew up with, well, why do you do that? Well, we're Catholic. That's why we do it. Well, that's not a very good answer. Actually, what we need to do is look to the questions. Test the teaching of our faith. We have this beautiful thing called a magisterium that has spent thousands of years testing, questioning, coming up with the answers, and guiding us in the right direction. And no, the magisterium has not always been perfect, but that's the part of the ongoing testing, to make sure that we really are conforming to the teachings of Jesus Christ. The same thing can be said for Vatican I and Vatican II. They made us take a long, hard look at what is our faith and what are we trying to teach. And so changes were brought about. Not everybody liked the changes, because sometimes we're not very good at changing. But as we celebrate this Advent season, we look to the message that we are given, the incarnation of Jesus Christ. God who comes down to earth, born of a virgin who said yes to God. Be it done unto me according to your word. And so she accepted her role, and she brought into the world a son, Jesus Christ. Salvation, redemption, the grace and blessing from the Father in heaven for all of us. How do we test that? Well, we have history. How do we test it? Well, sometimes it's our faith. But at the end of the day, we need to ask the questions, and we need to grow in our faith. And that's not always an easy thing to do, but it is an expectation. It's not good enough to say, I'm a Catholic, that's why I do it. We should know why we do it, the things that we do. As we prepare ourselves to celebrate this Christmas, why are we doing this? Why are we running around buying gifts for everybody? Why are we dressing up the tree? Why are we dressing up our homes? Why are we taking up collection for the food bank? Why are we trying to help out other people? It's because Jesus taught us one simple thing. Love one another as I have loved you. And he laid down his life and he died for us. He sets us an example. And because of that example, we rejoice. We rejoice always in the Lord. He shows us a way to love one another. He shows us a way to care about each other. And because of that, we rejoice. And we give gifts, and we celebrate, because it is a wondrous thing to do. So as you journey through this rejoicing week, well, what are the things that you can do to make your rejoicing greater? The Lord is coming, and he will come again. But he's inside every one of us. Do we rejoice in that? Do we look around to see Christ in our neighbor? Do we look around to see Christ in those in need? That's one of our challenges. But we should rejoice always that Christ is in each and every one of us. So I say again, rejoice. Have a wonderful day. Pull out your pink. And as I was told a long time ago, real men aren't afraid to wear pink. So if you're going to wear pink, wear a bright pink and show it off. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves.